Assalamu alaikum. Um, let's talk about what happens when things don't work out and this constant fear of what if things don't work out. And this, if you're driven from this feeling, it will feel you won't enjoy anything. You won't enjoy the actual marriage when it comes up and all of that. So I'm going to touch on why we're so afraid of it not working out and what happens when it doesn't work out and how to actually deal with it. So it's kind of two parts to it, inshallah. First thing is when we're trying to get to know someone, there's always this fear in the back of our mind, especially if you're more on the avoidant side, of this feeling of like, well, it's not going to work out anyway, or it's things don't last for me, or they're once they really get to know me, then they're gonna leave because what they see right now is not real. They don't really know me that well. Why are we so afraid of things not working out? And what is actually behind it? Like what is behind the fear of like why does our brain invest so much time and energy into being afraid that it won't work out? And because when we're so afraid of it, we don't take the chances and the risks of actually getting to know someone because in our mind, we're automatically assuming it's not going to work out. So we have to kind of neutralize that fear to feel more at ease with things not working out, and then eventually taking risks from a place of if it doesn't work out, I'll be fine. And so when we coming from the brain perspective, when it imagine like breakup or things not working out, what it's imagining is danger. It's imagining if things don't work out, then that's going to mean, and then whatever the thoughts come up in that moment for you. So it could mean, okay, if things don't work out, that means, and they leave me, that means I'm not good enough. And if I'm not good enough, I'm going to feel a lot of shame. And you're tying that, or you're deciding, your brain's deciding ahead of time that that's what it's going to mean when when it doesn't work out. So it makes sense why it really wants to avoid not even putting in the effort to make it work because it's terrified of even considering the thought that maybe it's because I'm not good enough or whatever version thoughts that are coming up for you. But if if it doesn't work out, then that means either I'm never going to get married or I'm never going to find love or I'm never going to get what I want or um trying to think of examples. It's hard to come up with on the spot. Um, I'm someone that can't help. I can't, no one can actually love me. I'm not that lovable. I'm not that good enough. I'm not, any version of those thoughts. That is what we're actually afraid of when the breakup happens. And when I say breakup, it's either with, someone that you're getting to know and you thought you were going to marry them or even divorce, but whatever. I'm sticking to more premarital, like getting to know someone for the sake of marriage. So, okay, so that's what happens. I'm really trying to simplify it for you to understand what you're actually afraid of, because people think they're afraid of it not working out, but behind that is actually just the fear of what thoughts will come up in that moment that will make you feel a certain way. We are always just afraid of what we're gonna feel in that moment when the thing happens. Why? Because there are people who, when they do break up, it's not that big of a deal. It's like more of a relief or more of a, oh, it's fine. Like, alhamdulillah, this is what Allah wrote for me. And so you don't really stress out. Some people don't stress out about it like that. But people who do, they make it mean something about them or something about their future, which makes it really scary to even consider things not working out. And I'm even talking about even like people predicting that they're going to get divorced. Like if what if we get married and all this and it doesn't work out? And the truth is, like, everyone's always at risk for that. Ever, no matter how long you've been married, no matter um how much time you've been trying to prevent it from not working out, it could just not work out. There are things, incompatibilities that come up with time that make people just have to drop off and not work. But what would help you feel a lot more ease, and the word is safe with things not working out, is learning how to have your back in the moment when things don't work out. And what does it actually mean when things don't work out? As an example, okay, um, let's say you're getting to know someone and your brain keeps telling you, well, what if he leaves, or what if she leaves, and what if things don't actually work, and what if this, and it's just so to answer that anxiety, we have to answer, what will you actually do in that moment when things don't work out? Okay, we're going to create a plan. Okay, if this doesn't work out, what I'm going to make it mean is that we are just not a good fit together. And I am not going to tell myself it's because of me not being good enough, or that something's wrong with me specifically. I'm going to have my back, and I'm going to say, I'm going to take care of me. No matter what happens, I'm going to take care of whatever comes up in that moment. Okay. You deciding ahead of time that no matter what happens, you will be okay. You will take care of yourself. You will, experience a little bit of sadness or grief from the breakup, and then move on. That builds up your confidence, because you become someone who knows that no matter what happens, I will be okay. I will feel a little sadness or disappointment from it not working out, and then I will refuse to tell myself that something is wrong with me because of whatever happened. So there's two kinds of pains when it comes to the breakup, right? There's the pain of either the it's kind of more of a human clean pain, which is like the disappointment and sadness of, oh, I thought this would work out. And then the following pain, which is trying to make sense of why the pain even happened. And that's what our brain's way of doing it, which is, well, it happened. The reason you're disappointed is because they left you because you're not good enough, and they left you because you can't actually, you're so picky, you don't know what you want, and this is why this, and if you just acted a certain way, then they wouldn't have left you. And so there's two parts of the pain. And the first pain is more human, and that's what we want, right? We want to feel disappointed and sad when things don't go the way we want, because that's a human experience. But then the second part is something that you can control, which is what you tell yourself about what you're going through means. And there you have options there, right? You have options either to make it mean something about you, or to choose to make it mean that this is exactly how it was supposed to happen. And Allah weeds out people that I'm not meant to be with. So Allah helped me and weeded them out for me. Okay, that's two things. And to absolutely refuse to take it in a way that's personal, as if like that you're not good enough for love, or whatever your brain tries to tell you. How do you do that is you plan ahead of time, and you decide ahead of time, what does it mean if it were not to work out, what is going to happen? Oh, like all that's going to happen is I feel some disappointment, and then the negative thoughts that usually come up for me, I can handle that. All I have to do, I'm just going to write it out. I'm going to let myself journal. I'll give myself like a day or two to let myself grieve the loss, and then I will pick myself up and move on. The amount of people that I've coached that have been sitting in shame and grief, and just not even a good grief, like it's more of like a self-pity grief, for years over a divorce or a breakup, when like I help them solve it in one session, because it's not time that heals, it's more about what you make it mean that heals that part of your brain. It's not time. It's not necessarily time. Because I've dealt with people who broken up after, let's say, 3 months or a couple years, and they got over it really quick. And I guess because I coached them through it, and they got me over it really quick. But there are people who have been in a relationship like 10 years ago, and they're still grieving it, because their mind is stuck on the repeat thoughts, the negative thoughts of what that meant in the first place. Why did they leave me? If I was good enough, they wouldn't have left me. And then that's kind of more on the repeat, right? That's what causes the immense pain of breakup. And it's not breakup, actually, it's you making it worse than it is. Like there's the normal human things don't work out things, and then there's the part of you that's like really trying to shame yourself, and like, this is why this doesn't work out. or even like, this is why you'll never get married and everyone's disappointed in you and you're such a disappointment, and all these thoughts is just so unnecessary. It's so unnecessary, and people don't realize it's unnecessary because they think that's part of the breakup. That's just part of the normal life of breakup, and it's not true. It's that's an optional thing, right? So the second part I wanted to kind of cover a little bit is, let's say you are going through a breakup, and now how do you process this? And it's first a couple steps I want you to kind of recognize of what happens. Now that you've broken up, I want you to kind of write out all the thoughts that either you're blaming yourself or blaming the person of why it didn't work. And I just want you to observe what's coming up. What is your brain telling you that feels really painful? And of course, right, the part of us that is sad or disappointed, there's this image that we thought was going to happen. You had an image of who you thought you're going to be with. You probably created a whole image of your wedding and kids in your mind with them. And you're kind of losing that image and everything you thought it was going to be and everything you thought was going to play out, and it didn't work. So you have to honor that part of your human brain that wants to be disappointed. And also the part of you that really wants to shame yourself for why it didn't work, that can be manageable. That can be managed by writing it out and actually questioning, are these thoughts actually true? Is it true that they don't like that I'm not worthy? It could be true that they don't see me worthy enough to be married, and that's okay. Not everyone needs to see me as worthy. It could be true that they don't see my value. Yes, that could be true. But does that mean I'm not valuable at all? And whatever your brain is doing, it's like making the meaning of why this happened. You have to catch on to what it's doing, and challenge those thoughts. Is it true that if you acted differently, then it would have worked out? Okay, let's play that out for a minute. If you did act differently and it worked out, imagine how that marriage would be. It's very dependent and conditional on how you act. And if you act a certain way, then it'll work. And if you don't act a certain way, then it won't work. What kind of marriage is that? You're gonna be walking on eggshells the whole time. And let's just say that's not gonna end well. So the worst that could happen, if we really simplify why people are afraid of breakups, and I'm either divorce or breakup, they're afraid of a feeling that's gonna come up. In that feeling, if you're trying to avoid disappointment or sadness, the bigger feeling you're trying to avoid is the shame that comes up with that your brain has decided ahead of time is going to tell yourself. But if we can just see that it's just thoughts that are going to come up, that is not necessarily true, because we can challenge it and you show your brain that they're just thoughts, they're just feelings, and either feelings of shame, guilt, anything, right? It's just you know how to process it. And when you show yourself that you know how to process it, your whole body will feel safe. It will feel like the worst that could happen is a divorce. And if a divorce happens, I will do what it takes to be very graceful in the way I go about things. And I'll be very civilized. And I will let myself feel sad, and I will let myself feel what I need to feel. And I will seek a professional if I need to get it processed, which is, by the way, is I offer one-on-ones. If you just want to just have a one session with me to get over a breakup, I can help you with that. But really, that's all it takes. It is much simpler than it is. And that doesn't mean the grief will go away right away. The grief can last a while, and that's okay. Grief, there's a difference between like clean grief, like clean, like this is sad, and experiencing the sadness of, being a human, versus the self-pity that's ingrained in that grief. That is a lot more painful, and that is something that is very hard to get over. But when you allow yourself to grieve naturally, the pain, the emotional pain is very easy to carry on with your life, let's say, because we're here to we have to keep going, right? We have to keep living our life and doing the things. But if you don't let yourself really grieve it from a clean space without shaming, without blaming, without all the extra drama that comes up in your head, that is when you feel free from all the pain that comes up, the dirty pain, right? Um, okay. Oh, I'm getting a call from my doctor, I think. All right, I have to go. Okay, guys, if you want more help, you can always visit my website. I have a bunch of options for you to get the help you need. And inshallah, I'll see you in the next video. Bye. Assalamu alaikum.